Baseball is back, and with the NBA and NHL playoffs around the corner, we have a fantastic offer to keep you in action from the first pitch to the kickoff of the upcoming NFL season. We have you covered with every client release, including any 5% best bets from your favorite Wager Talk or Sports Memo handicapper from the day you sign up to the 2023 Pro Football Hall of Fame game when the Cleveland Browns and the New York Jets kick off at 8 p.m. on Thursday, August 3rd for under $4.50 per day, coming out to just $32 per week. To lock in your favorite Wager Talk or Sports Memo expert through the start of the NFL preseason, it would cost you well over $1,000, but for a limited time, pay only $4.99, coming out to just under $4.51 per day. As an added bonus, your access begins when you sign up, so the earlier you do, the more free days you'll get. This offer will include all sports and any 5% best bets played during this time, so act fast and lock in your favorite Wager Talk or Sports Memo handicapper through the start of the football season for the lowest price possible. This incredible playoffs to preseason kickoff promotion ends at midnight on Monday, April 17th.
Welcome into First Pitch for Wednesday, April 12th. I am Drew Martin, joined by Bryan, Leonard, Tony Mejia, and Rob Veno of WagerTalk.com. We got big game breakdown, best bets at the end. Come join us in the live chat box here, guys. What you're looking to bet, any questions, fire away. And if you're watching on replay, feel free to fire a reply below on the Wager Talk YouTube channel, going live 2 o'clock Monday through Friday, each and every day throughout the MLB season. So we'll get into big game breakdowns at the top here. Heading to Bryan Leonard up first. Bryan, I think we got the Boston Red Sox in the Tampa Bay Rays AL East showdown. Bryan, I mean, there's records possibly going to be broken here. Tampa Bay, the best team, going for the best team in the wild card era here, Bryan. What are you thinking in the Trop tonight?
Yeah, it's funny. On Twitter, and I apologize for the person who tweeted it, but I can't remember who it was. But Tampa Bay, I believe, has hit 29 home runs so far, and they've given up 20 runs. It's the first time in history this far into the season you have a team who's hit more home runs than they've actually given up runs. Tampa Bay 11-0, taking on Boston here. I just think this is a fascinating handicap. And the reason I brought it up is everybody's all excited about Tampa right now, and for good reason. I mean, they're playing great, and no matter who you play, to get wins is really the goal, and they've won big. But take a look at what the teams have done. Tampa Bay has played a very easy schedule thus far. They played Detroit, Washington, Oakland, and Boston. I say that about Boston, and even though I gave out Boston over in season wins because they no longer have to play so many games inside that tough division, I thought there was a value there. But if you take a look at those teams and you back out the records against Tampa, which basically is 0 wins, 11 losses, the teams Tampa has played when they're not playing Tampa are now 13-21 on the season. So don't get overly excited about this Tampa Bay Rays team. Yes, they're on a good run. Yes, they're playing great ball right now. But you're to the point now where you're going to start getting some inflated lines, if you haven't already, on Tampa. And keep in mind, once again, the teams they've beaten when they haven't played Tampa, 13-21 on the season. We've got Chris Sale going today. And Chris Sale's one of these guys that when he's healthy, he has been terrific. Unfortunately, he has not been healthy for the last few years, but he's looking pretty good so far this year. His numbers are not great so far, but if you take a look at some of the things he has done, even in losing the last few years, the last couple of years, he's still got a CSW percentage of 31.1, which is third best in Major League Baseball on today's card, followed only slightly behind Spencer Strider and Clayton Kershaw. So this is a guy that is still going to keep you off balance. He's still got a lot of velocity, and he's able to strike out a lot of batters. And to get Chris Sale in this price range coming into the season, this is something that, we probably wouldn't have seen. But based on what has happened from Tampa, that's what we've got here. And Tampa's coming out, and they're playing their best pitching prospect. Now, when you take a look at the numbers for Taj Bradley in the minors, last year 133.2 innings he's gotten, 2.57 ERA. But when you take a look at his FIP, it's 3.65. So it's a full run higher, and that's his minor league numbers. Now he's coming up and playing the majors. I think this kid's going to be a terrific starter, and Tampa Bay develops pitchers like nobody's business out there. And everybody they've got seems to be pitching very well right now. So it's an interesting handicap in that regard. To me, I think Boston has a little bit of value here. I'm not going to be betting this game, but it's going to be really interesting how this plays out with the young pitcher going against the veteran and Sale. To me, there seems to be a little bit of value here on Boston, but I'm not standing in the way of Tampa Bay right now. But what I really wanted to point out was that 13-21 record for Tampa Bay's opponents when not playing Tampa Bay. So don't get overly excited about this Rays team right now.
Yeah, it's such an interesting handicap here, Brian. I mean, we haven't seen it very much. In fact, the Rays, going back in the modern era, guys, they're going to break a record here. 1982 Atlanta Braves started the season 13-0, and the 1987 Milwaukee Brewers started the season 13-0. Of course, the Rays, like Brian talked about, 11-0 out the gate. So they're starting to inch a little bit closer to kind of making history here. Also note, the trend, the Red Sox have lost 11 straight games in Tropicana Field dating back to last April. So that's something, to look out for. Just in terms of trends pointing towards the Rays, guys, if you like riding those trends. Good stuff from Bryan Leonard in the leadoff spot. We got Tony Mejia up next. Big game breakdown, Tony. I'm seeing what the Orioles and A's, what are you looking to do here?
Well, you mentioned that 87 Brewers team. I believe I was 9. Well, I was 9 because, I'm in my 40s. But that was the Paul Molitor team. And I remember that well because I loved baseball a ton. That was like my heyday, when I really fell in love with baseball. But I am going to fade Ken Waldichuk. And Ken Waldichuk has an 0-2 record and a 14.54 ERA right now. So that's an easy fade. He's got a 24.00 ERA on the road. The A's haven't won a road game yet. And we were just kind of mentioning this on the lead up to the show off air. But I would not bet this on the money line. It's minus 185 if you're betting Baltimore. But even though Tony Finn would slap me, I will go ahead and go run line at home. And you're sacrificing that bottom of the ninth inning, so one less at bat. But I just think that this is, even with Dean Kramer going on the mound, he's not one of my favorite pitchers. But this is one of my favorite games on the board. So I just think Baltimore at home. Oakland, basically mailing it in terms of talent on the roster. Baltimore has a ton of talent, mostly young guys that are invested and really going for it at this point early on. So I think they will handle business at home. And like I said, Oakland really has not done anything to merit a wager on them. So even taking plus 1.5 wouldn't be anything that I would recommend. So I'll lay the 1.5 with the Baltimore Orioles.
Yeah, Oakland, tough run out the gate. Good stuff from Tony Mejia. We got Rob Veno. But guys, I hate to do this going out of order. It's just my best bets going off in 10 minutes. So I want to give everybody that's watching live enough time to get down the bet. If you're looking to tail, hey, if you're looking to fade, I hope you lose some money. But I'm going after a strikeout prop here. Logan Gilbert, guys, the starter for the Seattle Mariners. His strikeout prop today in a day game in Wrigley Field is 4.5 minus 135 to the over. He has 6 and 7 strikeouts in his first 2 starts this season, going up against the Cleveland Guardians. He actually went back-to-back against them. I thought that hurt him, particularly in the second start, going against the same lineup back-to-back times. But what I'm getting at here is he's averaging more than a strikeout an inning, and the wind is blowing out in Wrigley Field. Something I think he's going to look to go after hitters and put them away with the strikeout. So I actually think that helps the strikeout prop to the over with the wind blowing out, because obviously fly balls will fly out of the park. Now, granted, he could get the hook early if he's given up a lot of home runs. Still, I think it does favor the strikeout prop to the over, going up against the Cubs, who haven't seen Logan Gilbert a bunch. Keep in mind, this is AL West versus NL Central with the balanced scheduling here. Some of these top-notch pitchers, which I have Gilbert as, I think have an advantage over the lineups that haven't seen him. So all is said and done here. I got the best bet day game for the live viewers. Logan Gilbert over 4.5 strikeouts. Little juice, minus 135 on that for my best bet. Robbie Veno, throw it over to you, man. Back to big game breakdown here. I believe you got the Diamondbacks circled here, Robbie.
Yeah, but what I like best is you, Drew. If you're looking to fade, I hope you lose a little money. I like that. I'm going to use that from that one. The Diamondbacks game, for those who don't know, that actually goes in about, an hour and a half. So this is another one. A lot of afternoon, daytime baseball here this afternoon. But I'm going to look to play first 5 here with the Diamondbacks behind Dre Jameson and what looks to be a bullpen game for both sides, right? Jameson moves into the slot vacated by Zach Davies once he hits the injured list, or now that he has hit the injured list. Jameson's been a member of the bullpen. They're going to pull him out. Pitch count so far in his 3 appearances, guys, 66, 38, and 26 would indicate to me that, they're probably going to max him out at 4 innings here. 66, if you're throwing well, you can get 5 out of a guy. But he's pitched against dangerous offenses in his 3 outings. I mean, twice versus the Dodgers, once versus the Padres. Those are tough opponents. His results so far, 8 1/3 innings, 2.16 ERA, 1.20 whip. Not bad considering. Here he's going to face the Brewers, who are a pretty good hitting team as well. I don't know that they're in the category of LA and San Diego as far as offensive firepower is concerned. But I like what I've seen out of him so far. He's come into a couple of jams here with inherited runners and been able to get out. So we'll see if Jameson can handle Milwaukee here. He's going to go up against Jansen Junk, a guy who was in the Angel organization, came up for a little bit last year. He's a call-up as well to fill a spot because now Brandon Woodruff is on the IL. So Junk steps in, takes the place. For those who don't know too much about him, fastball 91 to 93. He's almost an equal fastball slider pitcher by percentages at this point in his career. So you get a little bit of that. Strike thrower, mostly around the plate. Doesn't walk a heck of a lot of guys. Came up last year, as I mentioned, with the Angels. 3 appearances, 2 starts, 8 1/3 innings pitched, 6.48 ERA, 1.56 whip, right back to Salt Lake City AAA to keep working. So we'll see what he has here. What I find most fascinating in this matchup, guys, is the way that stolen bases for some teams have taken over. Talked a little bit about this last week when I came on and used Arizona as a team season win over projection play. Arizona right now, they walk the least in Major League Baseball, 22 walks total. So the fact that you have Junk, who's a strike thrower, against a team that's up there swinging constantly, probably going to be some contact made by the Diamondbacks in the amount of time that Junk is out there on the hill. He's not necessarily a strikeout pitcher, which adds to the probability of contact being made by the D-backs. Should they get on base, they're second in Major League Baseball in stolen bases right now. 17 stolen bases up and down that line. They've got like 5 or 6 guys that could run at any given moment. And I just wonder how Junk handles that in this game. It's not something that these pitchers have had to work on the last few years, worrying about stolen bases. So moves to first, time to the plate, all this type of stuff. And when you have a guy who tops out at 93 and throws a lot of breaking pitches, that makes it tough on a catcher too, which brings the catcher into play here, William Contreras. He's bottom third in Major League Baseball as far as what they refer to as pop time, coming out of the stance, releasing the ball, getting it to second base. His arms speed, average arm speed, is a little below the 50 percentile in Major League Baseball right now. So you have a catcher who's not that great defensively, pitcher who I don't know if he's going to be able to hold runners on, especially of this caliber. And I think Arizona might manufacture stuff early off this guy. So for me, like I say, I shortened it up to 5 inning, took plus $1 with the Diamondbacks. I think they can get enough runs for Jameson. Don't want to play full game because even though both teams have their bullpen arms pretty well rested, Milwaukee's bullpen is far superior to Arizona. So I don't want to get involved in full game, but I do think first 5, Jameson, and that Diamondback contact and speed combination probably gets me through with a win after 5 innings.
Robbie Veno, wagertalk.com. Guys, we got best bets coming up. Huge shout out to the chat box. Bill in the house, Abel, Kylie Reynolds saying, liking the Rangers. That's the only way I would look, Kylie. Minus 160 is a little pricey, but I'm not looking to bet the Royals. Actually have their season win total under, so that's looking good out the gate. We'll see how that finishes. Jason in the house as well. City by the Bay, liking the panel here, and he's going with the Dodgers tonight with the bounce back. Nathan Cantor coming to us from the great state of Hawaii. Good morning to you, Nathan. Thanks for joining us live. Jimmy Burke in the house as well. So please smash the like button, guys, if you're liking the content. And again, feel free to reply below. Before we get to best bets, a reminder, if you're new to Wager Talk, we have you covered. You can get 50% off your first daily or 3-day all-access purchase at wagertalk.com using the coupon code TRYWT. That's TRYWT at checkout. All you have to do to redeem this offer is go to Wager Talk, choose the handicapper of your choice, use the coupon code TRYWT at checkout, and save 50% on your first purchase. Try it out for Robbie Veno, Tony Mejia, or Bryan Leonard, all at wagertalk.com. So, Bryan, coming to you for best bets here, man. Throw it over to you. I believe we got, speaking of the Dodgers, up against the Giants here. A little first 5 action from you. What do you got for final thoughts and best bets, Bryan?
Yeah, this will be our best bet for today. I had 3 plays in baseball. This is one of them. Had the White Sox first half under. Knock on wood, looking good so far. I think this is a great matchup here for San Francisco in the first 5. Everybody knows about Clayton Kershaw, Hall of Fame pitcher. San Francisco has seen him so many times over the years. This club, this management knows Clayton Kershaw. They know the LA Dodgers. If you take a look at the ERAs for the last year, Clayton Kershaw 2.41, Alex Cobb 3.65. You think, oh, well, there's a reason why the Dodgers are favored here. But if you take a look at the FIP, Kershaw 2.80, Cobb 2.87, XFIP 2.85 for each pitcher, Sierra 3.00, Kershaw 3.12 for Cobb. What I really like about Cobb is, especially pitching at home, this is a guy who is a strict ground ball pitcher. 61.3% of batted balls are ground balls for Alex Cobb. When you're playing a power team like the Dodgers, if you're not giving up home runs, you got a really good chance of beating this team. We take a look at the batted ball quality for the last 2 years. His barrel percent, 4.30. I'll take a look at every other pitcher we've got going today. I see Jack Flaherty at 5.3, and I see Clayton Kershaw at 5.0. So not going to be, if you're looking for home runs in this game, I don't think you're going to see it. Blast percentage, which is basically a combination of your barrel percentage and your launch angle, 1.9%. Kershaw, 2.5%. And other than Zach Wheeler at 1.6%, everybody else is in the 3s and 4s pitching today. His home runs per 9, 0.62, Kershaw 0.85. When you take a look at righty and lefty splits, showing more of the same. And what I really like is the home away splits here between these two. Alex Cobb, when pitching at home, 2.67 ERA, 2.83 xFIP, home runs per 9, 0.48. When you take a look at Clayton Kershaw on the road, his ERA is slightly higher, but his xFIP is 2.17 at home, 3.54 on the road. So we're getting Kershaw in his worst position, which is pitching on the road. We're getting Alex Cobb in his best position, pitching at home. And if you're getting him in the first 5, you're getting San Francisco here at a nice underdog price. This is one of my better plays I've had so far this season. I love this play. Gave it to clients, and I think we've got a winner here.
Bryan Leonard, wagertalk.com. We got Tony Mejia up next. Follow him on Twitter at Mejia Dinero. Dinero meaning money in Spanish. Check him out, wagertalk.com. Tony, what do you got for any final thoughts for the show, and where are you heading for best bets?
Best bets at the top of the next hour. We're going with the Colorado Rockies and St. Louis Cardinals going over 13.5 runs, which I believe is the highest total that I've seen this season. I'm not 1,000,000% sure on that, but it's definitely up there in terms of that. And let me give a shout out to Ballpark Pal, which I know that we utilize on Twitter or their website. They do projections on games and wind and all of that. It's an essential tool for me, at least, in terms of handicapping baseball. And they view the Rockies game in Denver as one most conducive to being the highest scoring game in terms of home runs and all of that. Jack Flaherty's on the mound. He has a 1.50 ERA, but his WHIP is actually 1.70 this season. So it's not like he's been efficient. He's just been fortunate not to give up a ton of runs. He's 1-1 on the season. Jose Urena, probably one of the weakest starting pitchers in all of baseball, 0-2 with a 14.40 ERA. So we will look for the Cardinals to get the better of him, and then hopefully Jurickson Profar gets the party started early. He's 3 for 5 in his career against Flaherty, and guys in the Rockies lineup that have gotten off to pretty good starts. Charlie Blackmon, C.J. Cron. We'll see if they can do their part in getting us where we need to go. So the over 13.5 runs, it's very high. Obviously, I know that, but I just think we'll see a little softball game break out at the top of next hour. So high side on Colorado and St. Louis.
Yeah, Tony, I like the analysis there, man. I'm not sure if you saw the game last night. I was all over the Rockies. I even bet them on the reverse run line, and something I both bullpens really struggled, man. So that's something you got in your back pocket as well late here. And good point on the Rockies lineup. There's some guys that can really rake there. I don't think they'll make the playoffs by any means, but at home, I think they'll be able to score some runs. And what I was looking to do, because I like where you were going with this, is that middle of the Cardinals lineup. Man, that is pretty strong. I just wanted to make sure that those guys, Goldschmidt, Arenado, Contreras, their 3, 4, 5 were in the lineup because it is getaway day. And sure enough, they are, Tony. So that's kind of all things to go towards the over here. 13 is high, but hey, it is what it is. Mile high there in Coors Field. We got Robbie Veno to finish it off here, guys. Check out Rob at wagertalk.com. And Robbie, I think we got a little Reds and Braves action. What are you looking to do in Cobb County?
Yeah, a little outside my parameters here, Drew. Don't like to lay $1.55 on a first 5 run line, but I'm going to do it here with Spencer Strider and the Atlanta Braves. Reason why I'm going to play first 5 here is I just don't want to get, again, involved with these bullpens. The usage on each side here has been heavy, but the Braves bullpen, the 3 best guys they've had so far this year out of the pen, Chavez, Lee, and Tonkin, all unavailable for this one. And the guys available outside of that have all been less than dependable. I mean, there's some 7.5 ERAs, some 9 ERAs mixed in there. So let's just get rid of the bullpen and play Spencer Strider against Hunter Greene, the highly touted Hunter Greene, who, when he does find it, I think he's going to be a star in this league, but hasn't quite found it yet. The biggest part of this play is going to be, of course, Spencer Strider versus the Reds lineup the first couple of times through. He had one start against Cincinnati last year. It was in Great American Ballpark, obviously a hitter-friendly park. In that start against Cincinnati, 6 innings pitched, 1 hit, only 2 base runners allowed, 11 strikeouts, a completely different Cincinnati lineup personnel-wise. but caliber-wise, probably the same thing. I mean, different names here, but I don't think there, any great difference between lineups last year when Strider threw against this team and this year. In that particular game, Atlanta did lead 2-1 after 5, which is important here because we're making a 5-inning play. Jonathan India, as I mentioned, he's the only guy who played in that game last year that will play here this evening as long as he's in the lineup. In that game last year, Spencer Strider threw 59 strikes, 21 of those were swinging. They couldn't even find the ball last year, 35.6% swinging strike rate. Other side of this coin is the Atlanta lineup against Hunter Greene, and there's a lot to like here. I mean, I'll very quickly go through what Hunter Greene has done so far this year. A couple of starts, hasn't made it through 5 in either start, 8 innings total, 16 base runners allowed, a 2.0 whip, 5 earned runs. Yes, he's a good strikeout pitcher. No, he hasn't been able to find the plate. No, he hasn't been able to avoid hard hit contact. His exit velocity, his hard hit percentage, and his walk rate all rank in the between the 13 and 22 percentile in Major League Baseball. Bottom 5th in everything that I mentioned there: exit velocity, hard hit, and walk rate. He's as good as his stuff is, guys. Nobody's chasing. Only a 33% chase rate. He is below average or poor in 9 of the 13 StatCast categories. So not really on his game yet, Hunter Greene. It doesn't work against this lineup because the Atlanta Braves are number 3 in Major League Baseball in walks taken. A patient lineup that'll sit there and wait for one of these 5 walks that, Hunter Greene's been giving up in 4 2/3 and 3 1/3 innings. Their on-base percentage, the Braves, 354. Last thing you want to do with all the big bats in that lineup is put guys on. It's what Greene's been doing. Strider was ahead after 5 innings in both of his starts so far. That 7-6 win against San Diego, or loss against San Diego. Braves were still winning after 5. I'm going to shorten it up here, guys. It's $1.55. I get there's a little bit of expense to it, but I just think the starting pitching matchup between these two, Strider's numbers far superior. I think Strider at home will be better here in this game as well. Give me the Braves. First 5 innings, minus half a run, minus $1.55.
Jumping on the home Braves there. First 5 minus the half a run, minus 155. You heard it there from Robbie Veno. I'm on Logan Gilbert over the 4.5 strikeouts, minus 135 in a game that just went off. Tony Mejia, St. Louis, Colorado, over the 13. A lot of runs in Coors. And Bryan Leonard on the Giants, first 5, plus 140. The dog is barking there from Bryan Leonard. Check out Tony Mejia, Bryan Leonard, Rob Veno, wagertalk.com. Guys, thanks for tuning in. And to Ricky Reek, commenting below on yesterday's show. What is the normal start time for this show? 2 o'clock Eastern, Monday through Friday. Thanks for commenting below, Ricky. If you're liking the content, please smash the like button. For Tony Mejia, Bryan Leonard, Rob Veno, I am Drew Martin. Thanks for tuning in. We'll talk tomorrow. Cash those tickets.
Baseball is back, and with the NBA and NHL playoffs around the corner, we have a fantastic offer to keep you in action from the first pitch to the kickoff of the upcoming NFL season. We have you covered with every client release, including any 5% best bets from your favorite Wager Talk or Sports Memo handicapper from the day you sign up to the 2023 Pro Football Hall of Fame game when the Cleveland Browns and the New York Jets kick off at 8 p.m. on Thursday, August 3rd for under $4.50 per day, coming out to just $32 per week. To lock in your favorite Wager Talk or Sports Memo expert through the start of the NFL preseason, it would cost you well over $1,000. Before a limited time, pay only $4.99, coming out to just under $4.51 per day. As an added bonus, your access begins when you sign up, so the earlier you do, the more free days you'll get. This offer will include all sports and any 5% best bets played during this time. So act fast and lock in your favorite Wager Talk or Sports Memo handicapper through the start of the football season for the lowest price possible. This incredible playoffs to preseason kickoff promotion ends at midnight on Monday, April 17th.